ready to dig deep into the world of mining and energy on the Mining Corner program, right here on ZNBC Radio 2. Brought to you by ZCCM Investment Holding PLC, an investment holding company with a strong footprint in Zambia's mining and energy sectors. With commodities from copper, gold, and manganese to energy and other industrial minerals. Join experts as they explore the latest trends, innovations, and insights in the mining industry, from exploration, production to value addition. We will cover it all. Mining Corner is your platform to learn, engage, and stay informed. We will bring you closer to what matters in mining and energy, both locally and globally. Mining Corner, brought to you by ZCCM. Investing smartly.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of Mining Corner. I must also make mention that this is the 13th episode in a series of 13 that have been coming your way on ZNBC Radio 2 at 12:10 hours. And of course, we would like to actually appreciate or the listeners that participated over the last 12 weeks as we brought to you issues surrounding ZCCM Investment Holdings and its partners. To present the program, my name is Kumbuso Banda, and I'm glad that you are still with. Remember, on this program, we also, of course, open our phone lines so that we interact with you, our listener, as well as give you an opportunity to walk away with some interesting prizes, compliments of ZCCM IH. So, of course, this being the last program, we hope that you listen very carefully, and who knows, you might just be that lucky winner at the end of it all. Remember, also on Mining Corner, we bring to you mining news, so be sure to make a date at the end of the program, just before we wrap up. So, of course, join us for the next 50 minutes or so as we look at ZCCM 2025 in review, activities and key developments. That's what we are looking at on this particular program. And I'm glad to be joined in the studio by the Corporate Affairs Manager coming through from ZCCM Investment Holdings. This is Loisa Mbata. Thank you so much for coming.
Good morning, Kumbuso, and good morning. I think it's afternoon now. Good afternoon
Yes.
to the listeners.
Good afternoon. Good to have you here in the studio for the last time. One last time.
It's a bittersweet. It's a bittersweet moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I can imagine. All right. So we've been together, like I did mention, for the past 12 weeks, and we hope that this being the last program, you will be able to still be with us as we wrap up the program. Before we continue with the discussion, let's listen to what ZCCM IH believes in.
At ZCCM Investment Holdings, we believe sustainability is our focus for long-term success. Management of our investments is done by highly skilled personnel. Accretion is another strategic pillar for us to make steady, continuous gains. Risk influences all our decisions to safeguard the interests of our stakeholders. Timeliness is religiously followed for us to position ourselves to react efficiently to emerging trends and market opportunities. Longevity is ingrained in our investments to build lasting, controlled growth and prosperity. Yielding a maximum return on investment for our stakeholders is at the core of our strategy. At ZCCM Investment Holdings, we're building a bright and prosperous future, locally and globally.
Welcome back. In case you've just tuned in, you have actually not missed much. This is when we are getting into our discussion for today. And today, like I did mention before we went for that break, we are looking at 2025 in review, ZCCM IH activities and key developments. And I do have the Corporate Affairs Manager joining me, and this is Ms. Loisa Mbata. All right, so we are over halfway through the year. How would you describe this period as ZCCM IH?
Thank you, Kumbuso, and once again, glad to be here. I'll look at 5 aspects in terms of looking at the 2025, the half year, from the ZCCM perspective, I'll look at some of the investments that we have done as a company and also some of the corporate social responsibility activities we have undertaken, and also the financials for the financial year ended 2024. And we recently got some awards both at the trade fair and the Lusaka Agriculture and Commercial Show. And also I'll share performance. Let me start with the investments. As a company, we recently announced that we have invested $15 million in a phosphate mining and manufacturing entity, Sinograde Metals, for a 30% shareholding. We have invested that because it aligns with our strategy as a company, investing in mining and energy related investments, and also speaks to our strategy in terms of diversifying our commodity portfolio. We have investments in the copper sector, in the energy sector, and so the phosphate brings a new dimension to our portfolio. We'll be mining phosphate in Sinda, but also the monoammonium manufacturing plant to be based in Chilanga, and it will be manufacturing the monoammonium phosphate, and it will be 300,000 metric tons per annum with a byproduct called gypsum, which will be produced close to 700,000 metric tons per annum. And this plant will also have its own power, 40 megawatts of solar power. So it is a great investment that we've made as a company in the half year of 2025, and it creates about 1,700 jobs. Apart from that, we also launched a new store for Kariba Minerals Limited. This is a jewelry and rock store at East Park Mall. As you know, Kariba Minerals, we own 100%, and it's based in Mapatiza, where it's mining amethyst. And those who had time to come through our stand during the Agriculture and Commercial Show had the opportunity to get sight of what the stone is. It's a purple in color gemstone, semi-precious. And so we've opened the jewelry store. This is the second one at the East Park Mall. The other one is at the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, and we are selling jewelry that is made by Zambia in Zambia with Zambian gemstones at affordable prices.
Okay.
So that's one of the stores in terms of investments. And we have also increased our shareholding in Copperbelt Energy Corporation. We have increased now to 33.31%. CC is one of our flagship companies within the portfolio, which pays dividends to CMI and has been paying dividends consistently. So with our strategy to increase our foothold in the energy sector, we have increased our shareholding in CEC. On the investment front, we have also been buying gold through Zambia Gold, and we have heard that government has given a mandate to ZCCM to help formalize the gold sector with what has happened, starting with Mufumbwe and what has happened in Mufumbwe. And we'll be working with the government with the mandate that has been granted to ZCCM.
Okay.
On the corporate social responsibility side of things, earlier in the year, we did launch a tree planting exercise, and we launched it at Levy Medical Manawasa University, where we launched 1,000 trees, comprising of ornamental trees and also fruit trees. The target is to plant 4,000 trees by the end of the year. This is because with the climate change, apart from that, if you look at the sort of trees that we're planting, not only at the medical university, but we are targeting public health institutions, fruit trees, to help supplement some of the nutritional needs for the guests at the hospitals or public health institutions. So this falls under our corporate social responsibility. And just over 2 weeks ago, we were in Mapatizia, where we have installed power solutions to the clinic that is there in Mapatizia, and also sank a solar-powered water borehole and equipped it with a 10,000-liter tank. Not only that, we also installed solar power solutions on the school that's in Mapatizia and the police post, but also installed some streetlights at the marketplace. Okay. So those are some of the corporate social responsibilities that we've been doing as a company half of the year. And earlier on, I did mention that we did get some awards as a CCMIH, which speaks to what we're doing as a company, a testament of what we're doing as a company in the country and also in the driving the growth and development of the mining sector. We did get the best mining exhibit at Pendola Trade Fair, and just last week, no, this week actually.
Yes.
The show,
at the just ended show, 97th Agriculture and Commercial Show.
Absolutely. So we did get the best industrial exhibit award, and we were showcasing what we're doing as a company through our investments in Mamba, for instance, where we invested $50 million for phase 2 of the 300 megawatts, which is poised to come online next year. Mamba Energy, that's one of our companies. We own 35%. So we also got an award of best listed company, and I'll be able to speak to what we're doing on that front.
You have had a busy day, a busy year, so to speak, from what you've said. And of course, we have a few more months to go before the end of 2025. And I'm thinking we are expecting more things to come from ZCCM IH. Now, some people might think companies are just interested in making profits. But looking at what you've talked about, you are involved in tree planting to mitigate the effects of climate change. We are also alive to the fact that climate change has brought about a lot of issues like the power deficit. You talked about what you're doing to invest in solar. So one would say you haven't detached yourself from what is happening on the ground.
Absolutely. Like you've rightly put, the energy sector is one of the sectors that has been hit badly with the drought and as a result of climate change, and with the growth that is envisaged with regards to the target that government has made in achieving 3 million metric tons of copper per annum by 2032. The energy sector definitely needs to grow alongside the growth that is envisaged. And so as a CCMI, we are also playing in that space when it comes to investing in the growth of the energy sector. I just mentioned earlier that we've invested $50 million in Mamba Energy Phase 2, 300 megawatts, which is poised to come online next year, before the end of next year. And also there's a 100 megawatt solar plant, which is being done under Mamba Energy, which will also come online before the end of next year at the same time with the 300 megawatts. So it's one of the significant projects. As you know, Mamba Energy contributes close to 10% of the country's energy generation capacity. Okay. And this one is not affected by climate change because it's coal-powered, thermal power, which is done with environmentally friendly technology that takes care of the environment. So it's power that is generated sustainably for the growth of the country. So we are talking about 400 megawatts coming online before the end of next year. And we have CEC Phase 2, the Timpi with a green bond that was overly subscribed before the end of next year. The CCMI also participated in that green bond with $10 million facility. And this is poised to bring on board over about 136 megawatts. Already they have 94 in two projects, the Itimpi one, which is 60 megawatts, and the other one in the Riverside project, in total about 94 megawatts, which is already in operation. And so the additional 136 megawatts that will come on board with the phase 2 of the green bond, which is Itimpi phase 2. We're going to look at again, more power coming online. These are just projects that are happening within the ZCCMI umbrella, but there are other projects that are happening by other investors. So we hope to see a growth in the energy sector as the country grows in terms of copper production.
Okay. So let's move on, because of course we know as a country we have an ambitious target of producing about 3 million metric tons of copper by the year 2030. Are we on course?
Everything is looking up, and if you can see, just in the first quarter of the year, the production figures that were released to the Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development, we have achieved over 20% compared year on end compared to last year, and it is envisaged that by the end of the year, copper production will go to 1 million tons, and this is a growth from over just 800,000 metric tons that was recorded last year. So we're seeing a growth in production in this year and in the coming years. And if you look at where ZCCMI holds investments and what we will contribute by the end of 2032, by the year 2032, look at the projects that are come online. Just this month, August, we'll see the launch and the commissioning of the Kansanshi S3 project, which will bring Kansanshi production from to over 200,000 metric tons in terms of copper production, an addition of over 100,000 metric tons. We're looking at the dewatering project at CNMC Wansha Copper Mines, which will bring again also about 50,000 metric tons of production. You're looking at also Mopani Copper Mines with the expansion projects that are taking place. This will take to production from close to 80,000 metric tons to over 200,000 metric tons. So if you look at all those expansion projects that are happening within the brownfield investment or mines that are existing, these will definitely contribute to that 3 million metric tons that is envisaged by government. The new project, obviously, that we've been talking about, the Semingomba project, which we have partnered with Cobalt Metals, and within the next 8 or so years, it is envisaged to come online with 300,000 metric tons of production per annum, which is projected. So all these projects, the Barrick Lumwana Super Pit and other small scale operations will contribute to that. So I would say we're on course, looking at where we'll end by the end of the year.
Good to hear that. Well, let me remind our listener that they can be part of the program. Remember, this is the last program. And if you listen very carefully, if you are joining us now, if you've just, you joined us when the program started, the questions that are coming through on the quiz are actually derived from our actual discussion. So the questions are very simple if you pay attention and if you listen in. So you might be our lucky winner today for the quiz that's coming up. Remember, we also have, of course, the mining news to let you in on what's happening in the world of mining, both locally and internationally. Joining me today is Ms. Loisa Mbata, Corporate Affairs Manager from ZCCM Investment Holdings. All right, the phone line is open. The number is 0770-347-221. If you have any questions so far over the discussion that we have, please feel free to be part of this discussion. And remember, we're looking at 2025 in review, ZCCM IH activities and key developments. So please feel free to be part of this discussion. For now, let's break for a short message.
You're listening to Mining Corner, brought to you by ZCCM Investments Holdings PLC, your partner in Zambia's mining and energy sectors. Join us every Thursday at 12:10 hours on ZNBC Radio 2 as we explore the latest developments, trends, and innovations shaping the mining and energy industries. Tune in and join the conversation on Mining Corner for in-depth analysis, interviews with industry leaders, and discussions on the future of mining in Zambia. Stay informed, stay ahead. ZCCMIH, investing smartly.
Welcome back. Now, like I did mention, the phone lines are open, so feel free to be part of the discussion. Call us on 0770-347-221. That is the number that we are using. And let's see if we can pick our first call right here on Mining Corner. Welcome to Mining Corner. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kumbusawai.
Who do we have on the line?
Joseph from Lundal. Mine is just a commendation to ZCCIMH for the informative idea that they have had. We have known where our own investments are going and how much they are raising for the welfare of the civil servants and the people in the villages, which is quite a very, very good thing, so that we are not kept in shadows. Now I know where our money comes from, where my retirement package will come from, because of the same information that they have given us. So let them continue. We wish all the management good health. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that commendation. To you, Loisa.
Mr. Joseph from Lundazi, thank you so much for that commendation indeed, and they will receive the blessing of good health. And indeed, we are encouraged to hear that you, at least you have been enlightened through this program on where your investments and what ZCCMH is doing in that space. And a lot of people remember ZCCMH in the olden days, and some people still ask, ZCCMH does exist? Yes, we do exist in a different form. Previously ZCCM was called Zambia Consolidated Copper Mines, but which is not the case now, because after privatization in 2000, the name was changed just to ZCCM Investments Holdings PLC. And what happened is that ZCCMH holds shares on behalf of the Zambian people through the shareholding of the IDC and the Ministry of Finance in these mines. So we have shareholding in Luvambe, 30% which is based in Chililabombwe, Konkola Copper Mines 20.6%, which is in Chingola and Chililabombwe, Kansanshi Mine in PLC, we have 20% there, and these other big mines. And we represent the Zambian people, and our goal is to ensure that we maximize value from these investments and giving back to the shareholders. And speaking of giving back to the shareholders, for the financial year end that 2024, we are giving out a dividend of 529 million kwacha to the shareholders. So you're talking about the over 93% of that going to IDs, to government through the IDC, NAPSA, and the Ministry of Finance. Over the past almost a decade, we've been giving out dividends as the CCMH every single year. Last year we gave if I can just look at the numbers, just last year for the financial year 2023, we gave out 243 million kwacha as dividends. In 2022, we gave out 387 million kwacha. In 2021, we gave out 336 million kwacha. So over the years, ZCCMH, with its interest and representing the Zambian people in these mines and that the shareholding that we have, is for us to get value from there and give to the shareholders, the Zambian people.
Okay, good to know that. Let's continue getting your calls. Call us if you can. Be part of the discussion. Ask questions to Ms. Mbata, joining us right here live on Mining Corner. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. All right, who do we have on the line? Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Your line is not very clear. Hello, can you hear me?
I'm getting you. I'm able to get
No, your line is cutting. Either you find another spot or I don't know what will work best. Okay. All right. Please call us back if you can. That line was not very clear, and we would want to hear your contribution right here on the Mining Corner, and be part of the discussion by calling and texting us as well. Hello. Welcome to Mining Corner. Your name, sir? Samuel. Okay. Please go ahead.
I'm asking this question. What's the meaning of dividend?
The meaning of dividends. Thank you so much for that question. All right, Loisa, the meaning of dividends. We've been talking about them for a very long time on this program.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel, for that question. So, dividends are the rewards that an investor gets from the investment they've made. So, I'll give an example. If you and I invested, say, in a bakery, okay, in a bakery or a shop. So at the end of, these dividends can be given depending on the agreement, half yearly, quarterly, or at the end of the year. So let's say our dividend in this bakery will be getting it at the end of the month. So when we sell whatever we have sold, we remove all the cost and then remain with a profit. And then from that profit, we'll agree, okay, if say we made a profit of 3 million kwacha, and then we agree, okay, we'll get, say, 1.5 million kwacha as a dividend. The other 1.5 million kwacha of the profit, we'll put it back in the business to grow the business. So that 1.5 million kwacha, we will share, you and I, as a dividend based on how much shares we have. Okay. So in that bakery, if he had, say, 70%, I had 30%. So he will get 70% of that 1.5 million kwacha, and I'll get 30% of that 1.5 million kwacha. So that is a dividend. It's a reward that you get or that you reap from your investment as an investor.
Okay. Well explained there. Let's pick another call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Are you clear now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, okay. I'm calling from Scotland, in Portugal.
Hello.
Hello, I'm calling from Scotland in Portugal.
You're calling us from Chikola?
Chikola in Kapirimposhi.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I joined the program a bit late,
Mm-hmm.
but then, according to what I've heard, they said they are into tree planting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just wanted to find out if even those areas which are outside the investment, like in the case of Chikola, where they are not doing mining, are not involved in the mining here, can they be beneficiaries of the tree planting? I'm saying this because we have people are involved in the beekeeping, and beekeeping and trees, they go
Hand in hand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can we be beneficiaries of that, the tree planting project? And then that side, I wanted to find out, they are into mining.
Mm-hmm.
Of late, we've heard of what is happening in Kitwe, Copper Belt, and lately, I read somewhere on the social media that the American embassy is trying to evacuate the citizens from Kitwe because of the pollution as a result of the spillage of the
Yes. From a
tailings
named
there.
mine, so not in all mining operations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, in that area, I just wanted to find out how ZCCMI is involved in safeguarding the lives of our citizens.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Regarding the spillage that happens there, they're into mining. That's what I want to find out.
Thank you.
In the case of what the tree planting, how can we get in touch to be beneficial?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe this is where mining sustainably comes in generally. Maybe we can answer from that angle. Loisa, let's start with the tree planting. So you do have social corporate responsibility where you planted some trees, as you mentioned. But what are your plans long term? What are you looking at going forward in as far as empowering local communities, one, incorporating them in your programs, and you did mention beekeeping as well as tree planting.
Thank you, Kumbusa, and thank you to Mr. Swale from Chikola in Kapirimposhi. The question that is asked, whether they can be beneficiaries. ZCCM is a company owned by all Zambians. And yes, indeed, we have a targeted CSR investments in areas where we have operations. But remember that this is a company owned by you, by Mr. Swale. So if there's a case where he's saying they do beekeeping and definitely tree planting goes hand in hand, we'd like to encourage Mr. Swale just to approach us. And it's something that we can look into as a company when it comes to donating some of the trees.
How simple is it to get to you and present such an idea like that? Like Mr. Swale is from Kapirimposhi. How does he manage to get to you? How can he manage?
So we are found in Lusaka. Our headquarters we're neighbors with ZNBC, and we also have a website. They can reach out to us through the email. You can drop an email. You can call us on 0221138000. That's our landline, and we can also get his line. But we'll definitely be able to call him. But can drop an email with the proposal and the request, and it's something that ZCCM can look into. Our intention as a company is to empower, like you said, local communities, not only where we have investments, but also where there is potential for intervention when it comes to corporate social responsibility. This is a company owned by Zambians. And also when it comes to the aspect of sustainable mining and ZCCM safeguarding the lives of people within the mining areas where we have investments, that's why, for instance, ZCCM has been given the mandate when it comes to gold mining. If you look at most of gold mining at artisanal level, they are using dangerous chemicals such as mercury and cyanide, which goes into pollution of the water bodies. So what is happening on the copper belt is not just endemic to the copper belt, but it's also happening in these gold mining activities, and we've seen it from in the media being posted. So the ZCCM will come in to ensure that this metal is mined sustainably without the use of dangerous metals that go into the pollution of the water bodies, for instance. Mm-hmm. And hence there will be training, working with the Ministry of Mines. There will be training of these artisanals that will be incorporated in terms of safe mining practices and processing of gold in a safe and sustainable manner. So I think that's what I would say on this particular aspect. And with what is happening in Kitwe, obviously the powers that be are looking into the regulators, them, and everyone working together with stakeholders to see how lives can be safeguarded on the copper belt.
All right, we're still getting your calls. Remember, we still have the quiz coming up as well as mining news. So stay tuned on Mining Corner. And remember, you can actually be a lucky winner today on our last program for Mining Corner by just listening in carefully, because I can tell you for sure the quiz questions are coming from this particular discussion that we are having right now. And in case you've just tuned in, I do have the corporate affairs manager from ZCCM Investment Holdings, and this is Ms. Loisa Mbata joining us this afternoon. We're looking at 2025 in review, ZCCM IH activities and key developments. Now, Ms. Mbata, you did touch on the projected copper production, which as a country, we know the benefits of actually ramping up our production to 3 million metric tons. You did say that the powers that be and other stakeholders are working towards this so that the growing or the envisaged growing mining sector can actually have enough power to power it, so to speak, or enough energy. So maybe at this point, just remind us again what is happening in that space in as far as increasing power generation to cater for the 3 million metric tons of copper that we as a country are desirous.
Right. So Zambia has been producing power. One would say Zambia has been producing clean energy for years.
Mm-hmm.
But that clean energy obviously has been affected by climate change, the drought that we've experienced in the past few years that has significantly reduced our generation capacity. And that's where the renewable energy comes into play. Other alternative sources of energy comes into play. And our government has targeted to achieve 1,000 megawatts of solar power by the end of this year. And it's something that we are seeing a lot of players coming on board. And for ZCCM, I mentioned that we are investing in Mamba Energy, 300 megawatts, and an additional 100 megawatts from the solar renewable that will come online before the end of next year. And the other projects within the Copper Belt Energy Corporation through the Phase 2 ITIMPI, that will aimed at producing 136 megawatts. So there's a lot that is happening, not just by ZCCMI, but also other players in the industry that are involved in ensuring that Zambia becomes grows its renewable energy capacity.
Okay. So as we grow the mining sector vis-a-vis copper production, there are fears by some people. They say that how do we then ensure that we have enough energy for household use and enough energy for the mining sector, because we need to balance this. Are these fears unfounded at this point, going with what you're saying?
Definitely, in terms of rationing the power energy, we've looked at ZESCO has been, I think, trying its best to ensure that there is something that goes through to residential, domestic, SMEs, MMEs, and also the mining sector. Zambia, the mining sector is the mainstay of the economy, and we're seeing industry players are seeking alternative sources of energy and not just relying on the power that is generated by the within the country. So you are seeing mining companies going across the borders to tap into any other energy sources to supplement what is already being provided to these mining firms. So with the growth in the mining sector, the growth in the energy sector as well, obviously our hope is to see that the residential, the SMEs, businesses in the market don't suffer significantly, and hence we've seen that mining companies are looking out to source other alternative energy rather than just relying on what is being produced within the country.
Okay. So what's on the horizon for ZCCM-IH as we enter the remaining, or as we head towards the end of the year?
A lot is on the plate for the ZCCMIH, having just recently been granted the mandate by government to spearhead the formalization of the gold sector. That's a lot. That's a huge task, and which cannot be accomplished just by ZCCMIH, but it requires concerted efforts from various stakeholders, and hence we're working with the Ministry of Mines. It will require us working with various stakeholders. The same artisanal small-scale miners, you heard that the ministry gave out 90 offer letters to 90 cooperatives. That's a lot to deal with, and that's just Mufumwe. There's Kasempa, there's Mumbwa, there's Rufunsa, which we're dealing with, and it's no small feat. But we are equal to the task, working with various stakeholders to ensure that Zambia benefits from its minerals, not only just Zambia, but the local people, the artisanals that are being found on these fields, thousands of them, but to ensure that the mineral is mined responsibly and sustainably, and that their livelihoods are impacted positively. What we've seen in the recent past is that despite them being on the field, you find them thousands or 4,000s, not so much in terms of impact on their livelihoods. Where is the money going? There's number one, that's why we're providing a market for the gold miners through Zambia Gold, but also ZCCMI to buy gold at market value, and not just where we take advantage of them, but we're giving them market value prices. That's the first thing when it comes to formalization, is the market. But not only that, the training, the capacity building, the machinery as well. All those will be provided through ZCCM, working with the Ministry of Mines, for instance. So that's a huge task that's on our plate, and that will be working with various stakeholders for the rest of the year. Not only that, we'll continue growing our foothold in the energy and mining sector, both brownfield and greenfield projects. We are actively doing exploration works in Rufunsa for gold in one of our tenements licenses as the ZCCMIH. And also on the CSR front, obviously we'll continue planting trees that we've embarked on, with the target to plant 4,000 trees by the end of the year. So there's so much that is happening apart from what we've just mentioned.
Okay, so this is our last program, the 13th episode. What are the key takeaways from the listeners regarding this show?
I think for us, we would just like to say thank you to all the listeners and the participants that participated during the show in the past 12 weeks. And it's not the last. We will be back. And so a lot has been said, just bringing to the fore and enlightening the listeners about who we are as a company, what we do, and various other topical issues within the mining and energy sectors that we had to bring various guests to speak about those aspects. And also would like to say thank you to the companies and the guests that featured on this program for the support and playing a part in ensuring that the listeners and the public are enlightened on what's happening within the mining and energy sector. And so those are some of the things that we just like to say thank you, and definitely will be back in the next couple of months.
Well, thank you so much, Loisa, for coming through to Mining Corner. All the best.
Thank you very much, Kumbuso. And maybe just to mention, a lot of people have been asking, buying ZCCMI shares. We are listed on the Lusaka Securities Exchange, and a lot were coming to the stand. We want to buy ZCCMI shares. Right now,
just there and then.
And so there's a process to it. You open an account with a broker. Those brokers are found on the Lusaka Securities Exchange, such as stockbrokers Zambia, Pangea, Kukula Capital. Those are some of the brokers that you open an account. And then those brokers will invest on your behalf. You have to deposit money in the account that you open. And when ZCCMI shares are available in the market, they will buy on your behalf.
So there is a time when there are no shares being
There is.
sold.
And ZCCMI shares are difficult to find, I must say. So one has to be ready to punch the button the moment somebody says they're selling on the market. and to punch the button and say, I'm buying those shares.
So do you announce, do you put adverts, or it's through the broker who will help you?
It's through the broker who keep an eye to
Okay.
say whenever there's something available. So there's a repository where the buyers and sellers, if you are selling 100 shares, you post, say, I'm selling these 100 shares, the brokers will quickly pick it up on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the active participation of the broker or the agent that you've chosen to buy on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be able to get those shares.
So even if I already had shares and I want to make a profit, say the shares have gone up and I decide to resell, there is that option, right?
There is that option. Like, for instance, if you bought shares just beginning of the year, there was 65 kwacha, for instance. Mm-hmm. Right now, as we speak, it's 130 kwacha, one share of ZCCM. You would have gained 50%. Mm-hmm. You would have, if you had even 100,000 shares, you would have gotten double if you sold them now, because you'd have made a killing, 50% of what you own. So yes, there's that option to buy and to sell when you see that the share price goes up. Those who bought, say, when it was 48 kwacha, they would have gained 189% at 130 kwacha now.
Okay.
So that's how it works. So you invest for the long term, not for now to say I invest now and I eat tomorrow. It doesn't work like that.
I want a profit.
It's you invest for the long term. So people can go to the Lusaka Securities Exchange and be able to open an account and place their money there for them to be shareholders in the ZCCM.
Mm-hmm. And that's the way to go right now, in as far as making yourself having a safer future for your family.
Absolutely.
And shares are there for you to buy as well. Thank you so much for that information, and I'm sure a lot of people have picked that part.
Thank you, Kamisa.
All right, so that has been our discussion today, 2025 in review, ZCCM IH activities and key developments. We had Ms. Loisa Mbata, the Corporate Affairs Manager from ZCCM Investment Holdings. When we come back, we do have the mining news as well as the quiz segment coming up. So keep it locked right here on 2, as we are almost coming to the end of the program.
You're listening to Mining Corner, brought to you by ZCCM Investments Holdings PLC, your partner in Zambia's mining and energy sectors. Join us every Thursday at 12:10 hours on ZNBC Radio 2 as we explore the latest developments, trends, and innovations shaping the mining and energy industries. Tune in and join the conversation on Mining Corner for in-depth analysis, interviews with industry leaders, and discussions on the future of mining in Zambia. Stay informed, stay ahead. ZCCMIH. Investing smartly. From deep beneath Zambia's soil to powering dreams across the nation, ZCCMIH is investing smartly. ZCCMIH is transforming minerals into milestones and opportunities